Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back. Today's Daf is Rosh HaShanna Chaf Daled. We begin 6 lines from the top of the Amud. Tanu Rabbanon. Let's go back to the Mishnah. So we called in the Edom one by one, of course, so that they don't compare notes. We start questioning them. How high was the moon? How big? Let's say there's a slight discrepancy between the two versions. So if we can reconcile the difference and join together both versions as one, then we accept the edus. If the gap is too wide, then we disqualify. Tanu Rabbanan, Echad Omer Gavoya Beis Mardoi. So we ask him, look, in your estimation, how high up in the sky was that moon? So one fellow says, Gavoya Beis Mardois. A mardea is that stick that you used to lead the animals. It was around 2 mardeos high in the sky. That's his version. His colleague says 3 mardeos up in the sky. That's close enough. Within the margin of error. Edus and kayamas, we accept the edus. However, one fellow says it was 3 mardeos up in the sky. The other fellow says 5. That gap is too wide. Edus and betela, that disqualifies their edus. But aval mitztarfen laedus acheres. Each one of these individuals can go ahead and join up with another fellow that concurs with them. So let's say this fellow who said 5 finds a friend who says 5 like him. So now he's believed together with that other fellow. He joins together. It's like 2 against 1. And now we are mekabel the edus. And the chiddush is that we don't say that they're both liars. Well, we can't reconcile both versions. Let's assume they're both shakran and they're both not going to be believed any further. No. They turn around, they find a colleague that agrees with him. Then we accept the edus. Tanu Rabbanan. They have to relate that they saw the moon firsthand, with clarity. Renew b'mayim. Suppose they say, look, we noticed the new moon through the water, through some reflection of some sort. Renew b'ashashes, through some sort of blurry glass, maybe some mirror reflection. Nothing definitive and without clarity. Renew b'avim, we saw him through the clouds. Ein midin olav, that's not called edus achodesh. What about chetzye b'mayim? We noticed half of the moon inside the water. So it had said already, we saw it through the water. We only noticed half the moon. In any case, chetzye b'avim, we saw half the moon, but it was inside a cloud. Chetzye b'ashashes, half the moon inside a glass, through a glass. Ein midin olav, again, they can't relay that testimony. 1 second, says the Gemara. What's the chiddush here? Hashta kulei amris loi. Once you've told me, citing the entire moon, having seen him through water, through glass, through a cloud, even the entire moon doesn't work. Hashta kulei amris loi. Chetzye me'bayit. It's understood. Is there a need to speak about only seeing half the moon through a cloud? Well, if the entire moon through a cloud doesn't work, of course half. Elohi ka'amar, the Brisa means like this. Half the moon they saw clearly, the other half in the water. Half was clear, the other half inside the cloud. Half was clear, half was it. Half of it was inside glass. So in this case, they saw half clearly. Elohi ka'amar, the Brisa means chetzye b'mayim, chetzye b'rakia. Half was in the rakia, clear. The other half was in the water. Chetzye b'avim, chetzye b'rakia. Half in the rakia, but half through the cloud. Chetzye b'ashashes, half through the glass. Chetzye b'rakia, half in the sky. Ein me'idin, and the chiddush here is, even though they claim that half the moon they saw clearly, without any obstruction, perhaps you can say, well, let's assume the other half also belonged to the moon, even though it was through a glass, through a cloud, through water. No. They cannot testify unless they can say clearly, definitively, we saw a complete moon, actually a sliver, but a complete sliver, a complete banana, without any obstruction. That's only to know with certainty that they actually saw the moon. Tanu Rabbanan, Rohinu v'shuv lo rohinu. Suppose they say, look, we noticed the new sliver for a split second, then we didn't notice it anymore. It was a short-lived sighting. Ein midin olav, they can't testify based on that sighting. asks the Gemara. What's wrong? All they need to do is notice it for a split second. Kol hachi. All this much chazila v'azli. They have to continue observing the moon. What's the shir? How long do they have to watch the moon? What's wrong with just seeing it for a moment? Amar Bayachik Amar. The Brisa just meant like this. They're telling us, we were walking along the road, we happened to notice some light in the sky, some glimpse of a light. Reinu me'eleinu. It was just an absent-minded sighting. It wasn't with the intent of going to look for the moon. So that was the initial blitz. And then when we turned around to take a look at it, to look at it mindfully, we no longer noticed it. Ein midin alav, then the initial sighting doesn't work. Why? My time, what's wrong? Amor, there's always room for speculation to say, kubisa de'iva, kubisa is a circle, de'iva in the cloud, or of a cloud, a round light cloud, ba'alma, that's all. Hudachazi, that's what they saw. Meaning, if you're focusing, if you're being mindful, if you're looking for something, then when you see it, you know it. But in this case, just walking along the road, maybe it was a lightning, maybe it was some other flash of light, some other beacon of light shining through the sky, or a light cloud. If you're not paying attention to it, it isn't necessarily what you thought you saw, and therefore when they turned around to look for it, and it was no longer there, we have to suspect that indeed it wasn't really the moon. So what do we learn? In order to trust these Edom, they have to come with definitive information. They have to corroborate their versions. It has to be seen with clarity and definitiveness. Oh, so we hear the Edis, we trust them, we makabel the Edis. What happens now? It says the Mishnah, Rosh Bezdin Omer Mekudesh. The head of the court says, Mekudesh. He expresses that formal declaration. Today is Rosh Chodesh. And everybody standing by responds, Mekudesh, Mekudesh. The Gemara will learn this from Psukim. Now, when did they do this? Is it by a short month, or also by a long month? Is it in the short month where Rosh HaShanna is, Rosh Chodesh is going to be day 30, so 29 days for the month, next day 30, is Rosh Chodesh of the coming month? Or is it also said by the long month, the full month? Chodesh Mali, a 30-day month, followed by Rosh Chodesh. So again, the Mishnah speaks about the Rosh Bezdin and the Am, declaring Mekudesh, Mekudesh on a typical Rosh Chodesh. Which Rosh Chodesh? A short or a long month? Bein Shinira Bizmane. We're speaking whether the new moon was seen Bizmane in its right time. It's just a way of saying a short month, because that's considered the Zman, because the Levana takes about 29 plus change days to make that orbit. So if Rosh Chodesh is on day 30, it's considered, we call it Bizmane in its right time. Bein Shinira Bizmane, or whether it was not seen Bizmane, which means Rosh Chodesh was postponed by a day. In either case, this Kiddush HaChodesh ceremony announcing Mekudesh, Mekudesh, Mekudesh takes place. So according to Tanakama, it's irrelevant of whether it's a short or long month. Rabbi Lezer Tzaddik Omer, no. Unless it was seen in its time, a short month, there's no need to make Kiddush. Look, there's no option here. Certainly Rosh Chodesh is the next day. In Shamayim, they already Mekadesh it. There's no need for us to do it down here. So again, according to Tanakama, every Rosh Chodesh gets this declaration. According to Lezer Tzaddik, only the short month, but not the full month. Rosh Bezdin V'chul, Minahan Emili. How do we know that he gets up and says Mekudesh, and he's responded to in kind by the Am? We learned from a pasuk. Amar B'chia Bar Gamda, Amar Yosef and Shol, Amar Rabbi. Amar Krov Ayidaber Moshe es Moyadi Hashem. Pasuk continues, El B'nei Yisrael. Mikan, we learn from here, Vayidaber Moshe, he was a Rosh Bezdin. We learned that the Rosh Bezdin Omer Mekudesh. He's meant to get up and say Mekudesh Vayidaber Moshe es Moyadi Hashem, to declare the Kedusha that was applied to today. That's his job. Everybody in attendance responds. How do we know that that's so? You meant to call out these days, these Yomim Tovim. And we darshan, Karibe, we read Atem, as though it would say, Asher Tikru Atem, you're meant to call out, respond, to acknowledge Mekudesh. That's one pshat. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Amar Eilehim Yadai. We learn from that pasuk that Haim, Eilehim, they, the multitudes, Yomru Mayadai, should call out and declare the Yom Tovim, including Rosh Chodesh, which is also a Mayit. Okay, what about twice? Mekudesh, Terei Zimni Lamali. Why twice? Tichsiv Mikra'ei Kodesh. Pasuk says Mikra'ei Kodesh in that same pasuk. Right? It says Ashatikru Oisam Mikra'ei Kodesh Eilehim Yadai, to indicate that they're meant to call out twice, perhaps for emphasis. So Mekudesh. Tanakama maintains this happens every month. The Rosh Bezin calls out Mekudesh, they respond Mekudesh. Rabbi Lezer B'Tzadok Omer, no, this only applies to a short month. Imlay Nira Bizmana, unless it was seen in its right time. Rosh Chodesh on day 30, there's no need to make a Kiddush. The Gemara will bring two additional shitas for a total of 4 shitas regarding when and how to declare Mekudesh. So far we had 2. Here come another 2. Tanya Plimoy, he was a Talmud of, I think, Rebbe. So he was a Tana. Plimoy Omer. The other way around. Bizmanoy ein mekachenois. You see, he held that Mekudesh, this concept of declare Mekudesh, is not learned from that pasuk. It's only dirabbanan, and it was only applied when we need a chizuk. We need to reinforce and publicize what Bezdin did. Therefore, he says, Bizmanoy ein mekachenois. If it's a typical short month, Rosh Chodesh in its right time, there's no need to be mekadesh, to declare, to publicize, to reinforce. It's only natural. Rosh Chodesh is today. If it's postponed to tomorrow, then we need Kiddush. Rashi says, because Bizmani ain't it tzarech chizuk. But if it's Shaloi Bizmani, you need chizuk to publicize and reinforce what they did. So according to Plimoy, Bizmani no Mekudesh, Shaloi Bizmani yes. Here comes a fourth shita. Whether short or long, there's no Kiddush, no verbal Kiddush. Of course, you have your edim, you testify, you confirm, you kaveya, you establish, but you don't have to make this formal verbal declaration. Shnema, Yekidashtem eshnas hachamishim shana. This is a pasuk by Yovel, and we learn from here. Shana mata mekadesh. When it comes to years, such as Yovel, you are mekadesh it verbally. V'yata mekadesh chodashim, you don't do that by months. So in total, we have 4 shitas. Always yes, always no. Bizmana yes, and Shalei Bizmana no. That's what Lezer Tzaddik. And Plimoy, Bizmana no, Shalei Bizmana yes. Omar Vidam Shmuel Halacha. Lezer Tzaddik, that what? We only make Kiddush if it's Bizmana. Because Shalei Bizmana is Kaddish by default. Sher Kvar Kitshu Shamayim. Omar Abaye, Afanan Namitanina. I can prove this from our Mishnah. That what? That Kiddush is only done when it's Bizmana, but not when it's a Chodesh Me'ubar. Mishnah says, Re'u Bezdin B'chol Yisrael. It so happens, on day 29, everybody saw the new moon, Bezdin, and everybody around. But they still have to go through the formal procedure, Nechru Edom. The Edom were examined and questioned. And by the time they got around to conclusion, it was already nighttime. By the time they got around to saying Mekudesh, it was already nightfall. Too late. Bezdin can't conduct a court case or declare Mekudesh until the next morning during daytime. So what happens now? So we have this ironic situation here. Everybody's watching, everybody's looking. We have a moon, but we can't do Kiddush HaChodesh until tomorrow. Hareza Mu'ubar. This becomes an extended month, and Rosh Chodesh is only tomorrow on day 31. Now, let's make a diak on this Mishnah. Hareza Mu'ubar. What does that sound like? It sounds like as soon as nightfall arrives, well, now is Rosh Chodesh. It's a leap month. It's an extra month. It's a long month. Rosh Chodesh starts tonight, day 31. Me'ubar in, yeah, it's Me'ubar. Mekudesh loy, but there's no need to say Mekudesh and wait until tomorrow. Otherwise, why would the Mishnah say Hareza Me'ubar? Mishnah should have said Hareza Miskadesh tomorrow. So this is a riot, it would seem. A riot to Rabbi Lezer Tzaddik. Kiddush is only done when it's a short month. But in this case, where it's a long month, there's no need to make Kiddush. Kiddush happens automatically, Min HaShamayim, right at that first moment of night. Says the Gemara, no, perhaps Mishnah never meant to say that. Me'uber, it's strichle. So then why would the Mishnah use the word me'uber? Which sounds like the Chodesh commences right now at night. Sakadai dechamina. There's a chiddush in that. Because otherwise I would have thought, you don't have to wait till tomorrow. You don't have to make it a long month. Perhaps Rosh Chodesh happens today, notwithstanding the fact that we didn't get a chance to conclude the ceremony and the procedure and the edus and the kiddush. You know why? Look, bottom line is, everybody saw that new moon. It's become publicized. Let them not make Ibra Chodesh this month. Perhaps this itself gives it power and authority to happen today. Kamashmon comes, the Mishnah says, no. Unless they completed that formal procedure of establishing today as Rosh Chodesh, you can't have it. Just because everybody saw the new moon and it's plain evident to all that today should be Rosh Chodesh, it doesn't happen by itself. Rather, you wait until tomorrow. Kamashmon, you wait until tomorrow. Bezdin will have the opportunity to be Mekadosh to Chodesh. So, in summary, we learned about declaring Mekudesh. This was done by the Av Bezdin, Rosh Bezdin. The Am responds Mekudesh twice. We learn everything from the Pasuk. Moshe Rabbeinu was the declarer. The Am responded not once but twice. Mikroi Kodesh. When is this done? 4 shittas. Never, always, only on the short, only on the full. Continues the Mishnah. Dumus Tzuros Levana. Hoyloi LeRabban Gamliel. Rabban Gamliel, who was the Rosh Bezdin in Yavne, he had hanging on his wall a display, various images of the moon, Dmus, resemblances, images, Tzuros Levana, Tzura of the moon, Hoyloi LeRabban Gamliel betavla on a board, ubekoisel, hanging on his wall. Ba'aliyasa, on the upper floor where he kept, where he held court, where he had his his laboratory. That's where he would take the Edim and show them around. Shebehen maras hadyotis, he would use the images to show the hadyotis, the unlearned fellows who came to testify for Kiddush HaChodesh. V'omer, and he would ask them, tell me something. Hakazer isa, hakazer. Was it something like this that you saw, or something like that? This would help him confirm whether they were speaking truth. Says the Gemara. Now we have a side point here, not relating to Kiddush HaChodesh. How could he have these images hanging in his house? Umi shari. Can a person have an image of the sun, the moon, hanging in his house? V'oksiv, I have a pasuk which says, Lo yisasun iti. What does that mean? Lo yisasun, you should not make kidmus shamoshai, something which resembles my servants. Heavenly bodies, serve Hashem, sun, the moon. You can't make an image which resembles, which models the Levana, models the sun, even if it's a 2-dimensional image. Lo yisasun iti. Amar Abaye, not a problem. Lo yosra Torah. When the Brisa says Lo sasun kedmus shamoshai, it meant don't make a model, don't replicate, don't duplicate something which serves Hashem. Something which can actually replicate Kedusanya, as we find in the Brisa. One can't build a room with the same exact dimensions as the Heichel. Or Achsadra, an open-ended room, like a 3-walled room, Tavnis Ulam, which resembles the Ulam, which had a wide door and looked like an Achsadra, like a terrace. Chatzah Keneged Azara, or courtyard, with the same dimensions as the Azara. Shulchan, you can't make a table in your house, Keneged Shulchan, which corresponds to the Shulchan and the Mikdash. Or Menorah Keneged Menorah. That's why we never find a menorah of 7 pipes. You can make one with 5, 6, 8 sticks. But not one of 7. Even if you're not going to use gold, use silver, metal. Because truthfully, gold was not ma'akev in the Mikdash. So any type of metal is considered a duplicate of the Mikdash's menorah. Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, he adds, Afshel eitz layas. You can't even make one of wood, which is also kosher in the Mikdash. As we find, Kederach she'asu Malchei Beis Chashmonai. As the Malchei Beis Chashmonai, after they kicked out the Yevanim, the Mikdash, they rebuilt everything, and they brought in a new menorah, which was made of wood. They couldn't afford more. They were aniyim, Rashi says. So apparently, even a wooden menorah is kosher. Therefore, you can't duplicate even a wooden menorah if it has 7 stalks. Amalei Rabbanan responded, no. A wooden menorah wouldn't be kosher in the Mikdash, and therefore it wouldn't be a problem if one makes one privately. Misham Rai, you're being a Rai from the Chashmonaim, you're mistaken. Really, Shvudin Shel Barzel Hayu. They were made of metal rods. V'chipum bebats, which were coated with bats, a certain type of metal, which eventually took on the color. It got tarnished and it looked like wood. Therefore, you think it was wood, really wasn't. Some actually have a girsa, v'chipum be'etz. They coated it with wood, but really it was made of metal. He'eshiru, when they got wealthier, asum shel kesef, they upgraded to silver. Chazer eshiru, they got more wealthy. Asum shel zav, they upgraded to gold. In any case, wood is never acceptable in the Beis HaMikdash, whereas Rabbi Yehuda says wood is also kosher, and therefore you shouldn't duplicate a wooden menorah as well. In any case, what do we see from here? Duplication, replication is asur. The same dimension, the same shear, the same size. Otherwise, says Abai, just making some sort of two-dimensional picture of some sun or moon, that's okay. Says the Gemara. Really? Do you mean to say that making an image, a resemblance, even a two-dimensional image of Shamoshin, those heavenly bodies which serve Hashem, which you can't really replicate, you can't make, you can't possibly build a moon or a sun, but even a two-dimensional image or a model, you think that's mutter? About tiny, listen to this brayse. Lo sasun iti. Furthermore, says the brayse, we learn from this pasuk, Lo sasun kedmus sham Moshe mashamshin lefani b'marim. You not even make a dmus, a resemblance, an image of all those things that serve me up in the heavens. Amar Abaye, you know what this brayse means? Lo asra Torah. Elo dmus arba apanim b'hadi adadi. The brayse means like this, a very specific thing. Rashi explains that the Kisi HaKavod rests on this entity, some spiritual entity, which has 4 elements to it. It has the image of a shoyer, an ox, a person, an eagle, and a lion. So this foursome unit cannot be duplicated, resembled. You can't draw an image of it. 2, 3, 4 dimensions, irrelevant. You can't make any image that resembles that. That's all. But a sun and a moon, that's not an issue. Elamiyat, if that's the case, says the Gemara, parts of Adam Mechudei Tishturi. So you tell me 4 panim together is asur, but just an image of a person is mutter. Just the person himself is mutter, right? Because the 4 panim include Adam, Shar, Nesher, and Aryeh. Apparently, if it's a person himself, it's mutter. Is that what you mean? Alamatanya, but listen to this brayse. Kol partzuf is mutar, and you can make any image you wish, an animal, bird, chutz and parts of Adam, except for a person. Well, it doesn't really work with what you just said, that only dmus arba upon him is asur. Only that foursome is asur. Man with all the other 3, because they resemble that resting place for the Kisei HaKavod. Here we learn you can make individual animals, right? But not a person. What do you mean? He's not part of the foursome, he's just himself. Amar Avhuna B'Redav Idi, I'll tell you pshat. Mipirke de Abaye Shmuel. You actually heard this halacha and the pshat for it in the pirke, in the shir of Abaye. Lo yisason iti. The pasuk says Lo yisason iti. We learn from here Lo yisason oisi. There's an additional restriction when it comes to a human image. The Farshim explain that at times Hashem would reveal Himself to a Navi with the image of a person. You see, a person is Nivra, is created with Tzelem Elokim, and Kaviyachal Hashem would express Himself and present Himself using the image of a person at times. So Lo yisason oisi, don't make an image of a person which resembles Kaviyachal Hashem. Okay, so that's an additional restriction. But sun, moon, stars, that's okay. And that's why Rabbi Gamliel made the Dmus Tzuris Levana. It wasn't a person. It wasn't the Dmus Arba Panim, that foursome of the Kisei HaKavod. It wasn't anything that replicated the Beis HaMikdash. So, no issue. Really, says the Gemara. Ushar Shamashim Yishar, do you mean to say you can make an image of all the other heavenly bodies that serve Hashem? V'atanya, listen to this brisa. Lo yisason iti. Furthermore, we learn from this pasuk, Lo yisason kedmos shamashai hameshamshin lefanei b'amarim. Don't make anything that resembles all my servants up in heaven. Kigayin, all these types of malachim, efanim, usrafim, v'chayis hakodesh, u'malachei hashoris. Here you go. So you can't do anything like that. Amar Abaye, you're right. That's special. That's unique. These malachim, these entities, they reside in the upper spheres of the Shemayim, and therefore they're asr. Like asr Torah el shamashin shiva mother elyon. You can't replicate. You can't make an image. You can make a resemblance of all these shamashim, all these servants, these malachim shiva mother elyon, which reside in the upper spheres. Rashi says, based on the Gemara Chagiga, they live up in Rukia Shvi, in the uppermost sky. But otherwise, all the other heavenly bodies that we see, sun, moon, stars, that's okay. Really, says the Gemara. All those residing in the lower spheres of Shemayim can be copied. Pasuk says, don't make any pesel, any tmun, any images. And we learn from here. What? L'rabbi is chama. Can you make a picture of a sun? Or levana, the moon. Kechavim, stars. Or mazalis. The heavenly constellations. Right? And the word mimal in the pasuk, Asher b'shamayim mimal, is coming to add l'rabbi malachei hasharis. So you see, that would prevent it from making a dmus of chama, of levana. How did Rabbi Gamliel do that? Ki tanyahi, that Bryce is speaking la'avdam. He has the image to serve, to worship that image. That's why he can't do it. But just for show and tell, like Rabbi Gamliel, that's fine, as long as it's not a person, as long as it's not the Dumus Bar Panim, as long as it's not the Malachim and the Srafim. Just a simple moon or sun, that's okay, unless you're worshipping it. Well, if that's the case, that he's trying to worship it, then why go up to the Chama, Levana? I feel a shilshal katanami, even just an image of a little shilshal, a little snail, a little worm. It would be usher if he's trying to worship, trying to be oiv avidizara with that image. And the Chanami, you're right. The Sani, the Brisa says, based on that pasuk, continues that pasuk, Asher ba'aretz, you can't make any pestilent tune, any image of something ba'aretz, l'rabbis. It's coming to include all different types of phenomena that we find in this world as well. Not just malachim and heavenly orbiting bodies. L'rabbis, harim, mountains, ugvois, and hills, yamim, seas, and ores, and rivers, afikim, water sources, vigayas, and canyons. The word mitachas in the pasuk is coming l'rabbis, shoshakatan, a small snail. So you're right. If his intention is to use it for worship, any image would be asr. But just to go ahead and draw a picture, or a model, or an image, that's okay. If it's just these orbiting bodies like the sun and the moon. Really, says the Gemara? This is going to be the final kasha. Do you mean to say just drawing these things, just creating these images of sun and moon is fine? We have a brisa which clearly prohibits. Furthermore, from that pasuk we learn, you can't make any form of all these things which serve me. Kigain, here it comes. Chama, sun, ulavana, the moon. Kechavim, mazales. So, back to the kasha. How could Rabbi Gamliel have these images hanging up in his laboratory, show and tell the Edom? What do you mean? Shani Rabbi Gamliel. The case of Rabbi Gamliel is different. Why? The Acherim Osla. He didn't make it himself. Acherim, Goyim made it for him. Now Tosha says, although generally Amir al-Nachri is Asr, not only when it comes to Hilchos Shabbos. One can't ask a Goy, one can't have any Yehudi do a Malacha, do a Isser for him. Says Tosfos. Well, here it's different. It was for the sake of mitzvah, and therefore Amir al-Akim would be mutter in this case. And that's what happened. So to make it himself, he can't. But to have Acherim do it for him for the sake of mitzvah is mutter. Okay. Continues the Gemara. What do you mean? Rabbi Yehuda. We have a story involving Rabbi Yehuda, who had an image produced by Goyim. And it was problematic. Shmuel turns to Rabbi Yehuda, Shinla, sharp one. Sami Eini Didain. I see you have some form there. Destroy its image. Either Eini means its eye, or its look, its image. Blot it out a bit. What do you mean? Acherim did it for him. What's the problem? Says the Gemara, no. There's a new concern there. Over there, he was wearing a ring, which had a signet, which was protruding, and had mashas to it. Over there, there's a chashad concern. It could arouse suspicion that perhaps he has it to worship it. As Navid Zor, it's something of essence, it's protruding, it's a tangible image. So until now we discussed Issa Deiraisa, Lisasun Iti, which applies to either duplicating something relating to the Beis HaMikdash, the structure, the kalim, or an image of a person, or image of the four things on which the Kisei HaKavod rests, or the Malachim, the Srafim, or even all those orbiting bodies. Chama, Kechav, Mazalis. By the way, Farshim say Mazalis perhaps mean all the Mazalis, all the constellations as one, full realm of constellation, not just a picture of one star. In any case, those are concerns. Don't replicate, don't make an image, don't draw, don't duplicate, don't make a model of anything up there, or a person because he resembles Hashem. By the way, the Rosh says, when we speak about a person, it's the whole person, from head to toe, with all his features. That's one of the aterim of taking pictures. So it's the whole person from top to bottom. That resembles that's Elam Elikim, and that's including the Isra. In any case, all these things are prohibited, except in our case where Achirim, Goyim did it for him for the sake of mitzvah. That's when kids draw. My daughter came home today with an art where they made a plaster form of the sun. She had a smiley face on it. And I said, Fegi, what's the smiley face? She said the teacher told them that if they want to make a partial sun, that's fine. If they want to make a full circle, they put on a smiley face so that it takes away this concern of the sasun iti. I said, wow, this is the Daf Gemara I learned today. In any case, you can't replicate, you can't duplicate, you can't make an image of all these things. But over here it was okay because Goyim did it for him, and it was l'shem mitzvah. Now we're going to another concern, chashad. It shouldn't appear like he's going to be worshipping this form. This is the Rabbanon. Right? So that was the problem with Rabbi Yehuda. He had a ring which had chaysame boilet, some protruding signet, some protruding form, and there's a concern of arousing chashad of avodah zarah, kedesanya. As we learned in the Brayz, tabas, one has a ring with a signet, chaysame boilet. If it has a protruding image, asr lanicha, you can't wear it, for concern of chashad of avodah zarah. Umuta lachsamba, we can use it for sealing, because it creates an inverted mark where there's no concern of avodah zarah. However, if he has a ring whose signet, whose chaysim, whose seal, whose form is inverted into the ring, mutalanicha, no problem, you could wear it. Doesn't appear like anything. But he can't sail with it because then he's producing that protruding image. The concern of avodah zarah there. Okay, so that was the concern with Rabbi Yehuda's tabas. Nothing to do with leisasun iti, rather anu chashash rabbanon, appearing like avodah zarah. Really? Are we concerned about avodah zarah, about suspicions of avodah zarah? Listen to the story. There was a certain Beis HaKnesses, which was called the Shaf v'Yasif B'Narda. Rashi will explain. Dava B'Andarta, in which there was a statue of the king in this shul. Let's go quick to Rashi. 10 lines from the bottom. The Shaf v'Yasif B'Narda. So one pshat is Makamhu. It's just the name of a place. There was a shul in that place. V'yesh Paisrin, some translate differently. The Shaf means it was destroyed, v'Yasif, and re-established. Shechara v'chazra v'nivne. V'tamid, also special about that shul. V'tamid Shechina was always present there. It was a special place. It was built by Yechanya when he left Eretz Yisrael. Listen to this. They took stones from Yerushalayim with them. They used it to build this shul. They yearned for the Avanim, for the stone of Eretz Yisrael, and they used it and incorporated it into the building. In any case, there was a shul which featured Nadarta, says Rashi, Selam Dmus HaMelech, some sort of statue placed by the king. Mepharshim say there was a gzera, there was a law, they had to have it. Okay, so what happened, says the Gemara on the second wide line, and still nobody hesitated to use the shul. Vava Aili, Rabbi Shmuel would go in there, Vavod Shmuel, Valevi, and everybody would daven, no problem. Matzlu Hasam daven there, with no concern of arousing any suspicion. You have a full-fledged, full-size statue of a person, like a wax museum. By the way, a wax museum really has that concern, because even according to the Rosh, it's a full-size statue, and some of Farshim actually learn, I mentioned this before, but some say that Dmus Adam is only concerned if it's a 3D-dimensional image, not just a picture. But a wax museum has a full dimensional person from top to bottom. So it's not a Jewish thing. In any case, we had this image in this shul, and everybody davened without any concern of arousing suspicion. How can that be? Why is it different than the signet worn by Rabbi Yehuda? Rabbi Mishani. It's a place of multitudes. Everybody is accessing the shul. Chashad is only by a yachid, a private person might run to the side, do avodah zarah, but a rabbin can't carry that concern, and therefore there's no problem. Asks the Gemara, one thing left. What about Ram Gamliel's moons hanging in his house? He was an Adam Yachid, individual. Why aren't we concerned about Chashad? True, we took care of the Issa Derais, or Isasan Ita doesn't apply because Goyim made it. Like Isasan, you don't make him. You can buy something off the guy, right? What about the Chashad, the Rabbanon? That wasn't addressed. 1 second, says Taisvis. I thought we just learned Chashad only applies if it's boilet, if it's something tangible, if there's a mamasha, something protruding. Rabbi Gamliel's tzuras were just flat sheets, 2-dimensional. There was no mamashas there. What's the Gemara's kasha of Chashad? Answers Taisvis, there is a Chashad. You see, by the moon, there's no difference between 2 or 3 dimensions. In any case, that's how we see it in the sky. We see it like a sheet. So even a 2-dimensional photo or image or drawing or painting of the moon can generate chashad. Perhaps he has it for worshipping purposes. And that's the Gemara's kasha. Well, Rabbi Gamliel Yachidu asked the Gemara, he was a Yachid. Why was he allowed to keep those forms? And says the Gemara, given the Nasi, since he was a Nasi, he occupied this Nasi office. Shchichi Rabbi Gabei. Many people would come in and out in the area. And therefore, there's no chashad of chashad. But in any case, typically there would be a concern of arousing suspicion if it's a protruding, a boilet, a form which is boilet, which has mamashas. But, says the Ran, this is very important, Bisman Hazeh. He says nowadays, this concern would only apply if this form is something which is known to be worshipped, the derech to be over this thing. And will create chashad. But all types of little puppies and stuffed animals, which are not things which are generally worshipped, not known to be tzuris of a desire, he says the Ran, there's no chashash of arousing suspicion. Okay, now the Gemara will conclude with another 2 terutzim, and some of Farshim learn. This goes back to the original kasha. This is the Raisa, a Sasaniti. How could Rabbi Gamliel have those tzuris levana in his attic? The Gemara answered 1 teretz. Acherim Osaloi was done by non-Jews. Tosis added L'Shem Mitzvah. Here come another 2 terutzim. Iboy Seima, another pshat, the Prakam Hava. Those moons were made of parts. They came apart. He would only reassemble it when he needed to show the aid. In this case, it's not called a sasan iti. It's not something which stands that way and stays that way. There's no concern. Iboy Seima, another pshat, L'Islamid Avad. He wasn't doing it for fun. He was doing it to learn, to teach, to show. There was a purpose, an educational purpose here. And there was a special heter for that. And therefore the Issa Leisas and Iti would not apply. Uksiv Leisilmad Lasis. Torah warns a person against learning the ways of the Goyim, of a Dezara, which he will follow in his own life. Leisilmad Lasis. We learn from there. The extra word Lasis tells you there's an exception, there's an exemption. You can learn their ways if you're just trying to study. and teach and figure out their avodah zaras. For instance, the Bezdin needs to know these things so they can discern what is avodah zara, what is not, who is guilty, who is innocent. In this case as well, says the Gemara, he wasn't doing it for fun, for ornamental purposes. It only applies in that case, but in this case where he needed it for a very tangible educational purpose to show the Edom. HaKazer is HaKazer. The Issa wouldn't apply. So in conclusion, we dealt with two separate Yisurim. One Deiraisa, Leisasun Iti, and one Rabbanon, the Chashash of arousing suspicion, perhaps is engaged in Avodah Zarah. Now, regarding the first Issa, Leisasun Iti, how does Rabbi Gamliel do his tzurais? We had three terutzim. Acherim Osulay, the Goyim did it. Or it was taken apart and reassembled as per need. Or there's a heter when he's doing it l'islamid, lahavin, and lahiris. What about the fact that it might have aroused a chashash of Avodah Zarah? The Gemara answered, Rabbi Gamliel was a place where people roamed, and people mingled, people came in and out there, and therefore it's a makim rabim, and there's no chashash of chashad. But in conclusion, let's go back to the concept of l'sasur iti. This really applies to all these types of forms, including parts of Adam. Here comes the big question. What about taking pictures with a camera? So the Farshim give three terutzim, three heterim, for the common practice of photographing people, tzaddikim, lay people, weddings, simchas. So either we work with the Rosh, who has a chiddush in Masechet Avodah Zarah. He says, the Dmus Adam, Leisasun Oisi, is a full-length person, from top to bottom, with all features. But if it's just the upper person, or the upper part of the person, or missing an ear, a side profile, all that would be okay. Some Rishonim learn, and some bring this down Lamaisa, Halacha Lamaisa, that although when it comes to the heavenly bodies, even just an image, a two-dimensional picture would be a problem, but an Adam dafka if he's a three-dimensional entity. L'sasun oisi applies to a person, in an image of a person. Right? Because the person you can relate to is down here. When you make an image of a person, it's a person in three dimensions. Whereas the heavenly bodies can't be really duplicated. So over there, l'sasun iti applies even to a two-dimensional picture. But a person who can be duplicated, can be replicated, say some Rishonim, it only applies if it's a full dimensional replication of a person, such as a statue, wax statue, but not just a picture. Other poskim say there's a heter with a camera because it's only grama. It's only pressing a button and bringing about that imprint of the image. It's not a direct mass of drawing and creating, and therefore a grama in this case would be mutter leisasum, but grama would be mutter. Okay, so what did we learn today? So they brought the Edom into the Bezdin, started questioning, cross-examining. They had to make sure that the versions corroborate with each other. One aide says, well, it was 2 mardoyos high. The other one says 3. That's okay, close enough. 3 and 5, disqualified. They had to relate that they saw it clearly, not through reflection and clouds, all that. We learned about the procedure of being Mekadesh the Chodesh. The Rosh HaBezdin would get up and say Mekudesh. The Am would respond twice, Mekudesh, Mekudesh. We learned this from Psukim. We have 4 shitas as to when they used to do it. Some say always, some say never, some say only on a short month, some say only on a Chodesh Me'ubar. We learned about the Dmus that Rabbi Gamliel had to show the Edom. And we concluded that anything related to the Beis HaMikdash's structure or Kalim cannot be duplicated in their exact form. Regarding things in the Mother Ha'elyon, such as the Malachim, or the foursome image there with the Shur, the Nesher, the Arya, and the Adam, they can't be copied in any way, even two-dimensionally. Likewise, when it comes to things in the Mother HaTachtin, the lower realm of the sky, such as the Chama, the Levana, Kechav Mazalis, an Adam as well. What about Rabbi Gamliel? 3 Terutzim, Acherim did it for him. It was Shalprakim, made of parts. Or he did it l'Islamit. We learned about another concept of Issa D'Rabbanan, not to have a protruding tzura, which the Ran says only applies to something which is generally worshipped. It can create a chashad that he's involved in Avodah Zarah as well. But if it's in a public venue, such as a shul, or as in the Beis HaNasi, that doesn't either pose a concern. All the best to you, and much, much hatzlacha.